In the spring and Lent a few weeks ago, we talked about trying to put a little emphasis on stewardship of time, talent, and treasure, but with a little more emphasis on the treasure part, just to be thinking about that. Our Burgundy books that we're using for Lent, which I find very helpful, I use it every day as a daily meditation, has really helped me to kind of get back into that whole sense everything comes from God. So we're very pleased to have with us a couple, John and Beth McGrath from Lawton, Iowa. They're members of Mater Dei, the south part of Sioux City Parish, a combined Nativity and Immaculate Conception. And so they're just going to give us a little personal witness about stewardship. So let us give them a warm welcome.
Thank you, Father. Good evening. John and I have been invited to speak with you this evening about stewardship. As anyone can tell you, I am the talker, not him so much. You have heard about time and talent and treasure, and this is the treasure part of the stewardship. Again, we are John and Beth McGrath, and we are members of Mater Dei Parish in Sioux City. John grew up on a farm in Nebraska with 5 sisters. When he was 16, his family moved to Sioux City. I, on the other hand, grew up on a dairy farm near Sioux City. My mom and dad bought it after my father came back from the Korean War. I was the 3rd child of 11 children, and from a very early age, my parents taught us tithing. We were always expected to give 10% of our babysitting money. Can you imagine? I got a whole $1 for an evening, and I had to give 10 cents to God. When I was 14, my father was killed on a training mission prior to going to Vietnam. He was an F-100 pilot. It was 2 weeks before Christmas, and my little sister was 2 weeks old. As you can imagine, our world was turned upside down. However, I always heard my mother say, "We need to tithe, and God will provide." And He did. We had no immediate family to help us, so we all stepped up. All 11 of us graduated from college, and my 92-year-old mother still sends her thoughts and prayers via the internet. She is still our prayerful cheerleader, and with all of her words of wisdom. My parents instilled tithing, and John and I believed in this as well. When any of us look at our financial plan for the year, we should consider our stewardship to church, and always put it first. Then plan your vacations, your nights out, your new car, your family outings, or even your night at the casino, and you will always come out on top. Our children were also instilled with the 10% tithing from jobs that they received, helping the neighbors with their gardens and mowing. This continued into high school and college. We are so proud today when we go to Mass with them and we see them put the envelope into the basket as adults with their families. John and I have worked together on the farm that John bought before we were married. He wanted to farm, so after selling insurance for 9 years, he was able to buy his first farm. I had just started teaching when I met him. After we were married, I quit teaching to farm full-time with him. We raised 5 children. We drove not-so-new cars, but we always ended up where we needed to go. As we have gotten older, we finally take trips to see our children and grandchildren from coast to coast and all in between. But at the start of every year, we put aside our money for our parish church, our local Queen of Peace, our local Catholic schools, the powerful Carmelites, and other needs that our parish may encounter during any year. God has always been with us in good times and in sorrow. I can honestly say we have been blessed 100 times over, as the saying goes, for all we have given to God. When we put God first, when we make Him our priority, we are never disappointed. It has been our church family that has prayed with us and for us when we needed it the most. So put God and your church as your first priority and consider what you can give to your church, and give it without asking for anything. We all want our family church in times of need, but unless we support it weekly, monthly, and yearly, we will not have our church family when we need it. Remember, supporting your church does not mean you deny yourself anything. Maybe instead of eating out 4 nights a week, you only eat out 3 nights a week. Or instead of your daily latte, you have coffee 3 days a week. It is the small things you do to support your church that makes a huge difference to your church family. Please prayerfully consider your treasures that you have and share. You will be surprised at the 100-fold that comes back to you in many, many different ways. Don't be afraid to look for those miracles in your life. I see them all the time. I hope you do too. Thank you, and God bless you.